Hey, Gator Nation. Welcome back to the Respect Our Decision podcast. This your boy Hirsch, and always with me, my man Mike,
What's going on?
and the hype man Wes.
What's good?
We got a jam-packed episode for you, Gator Nation. First and foremost, we want to apologize for no raw reaction this week. We had some personal issues come up this week, couldn't be avoided. So to make up for it, we're gonna try to cover everything tonight. We're gonna hit on what happened, what went wrong, what went right, and we're just gonna jam from there. As always, guys, you can find us wherever you get your podcast from. We're available on all major providers. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel, Respect Our Decision. Had a couple viral videos on the YouTube this weekend while Mike was in the trenches. We'll get a report on that in a minute as we get to the game. But yeah, go ahead and check out our YouTube channel, Respect Our Decision. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and give each video a like. It helps us a tremendous amount. And as always, guys, if you would like to support us as creators, please check out our Patreon, Respect Our Decision. As a reminder, each and every dollar that we make on Patreon, we put right back into this show to get the best quality content we can. We want to give a shout out to our man, Justin Martin, for being our newest patron. Thank you so much, Justin, for the contribution. We appreciate you. And as always, guys, we want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Camwood Supplements. Make sure y'all go check out camwoodsupplements.com if you're in the market for good supplements for your workout, your post-workout, or even super greens for your digestive health. Make sure you check that out. Use code RESPECT20 to get 20% off your first purchase. And guys, as always, with that being said, we're going to jump right into it this week, man. We got so much to talk about. And we're going to start, man. Like I said, we didn't get our raw reaction in this week, but these reactions will not be kept from you. And with that being said, we're going to start, like I said, Mike was in the trenches, live in the streets of Jacksonville this weekend. Mike, what was the mood, man?
Not as many Gator fans as you would see normally, but then again, I didn't really hit the roam button as I normally do. Pardon me. And sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I was definitely floating around tailgates. So it was definitely, some decent energy. It was just talking shop. I saw some former players and had the opportunity just to chop it up with them. But it was outside the stadium. It wasn't anything crazy. I didn't see anyone get stabbed, which is just shocker in the city of Jacksonville. However, inside the stadium, once again, unfortunately, but I wasn't shocked. It was more of a Georgia crowd of probably 65-ish to 35 Georgia compared to Florida when I'm used to 50-50. But, overall, the fans that were there definitely, once again, as usual, were loud when they could be. And especially when it was 20-20, they were giving it to the Georgia fans. Georgia fans were quiet. And it was I had about four guys in front of me, and you could hear a pin drop. So overall, a great experience as usual going to a Gator game. And, hopefully next year we take it home.
Yes, sir. It looked pretty lively down there. As always, guys, make sure you go check out. We uploaded some of the videos Mike sent to us. We do that every week when Mike is in the trenches, just to kind of give y'all the game day experience for those of y'all that can't make it out. Just as a quick note before we move forward, Mike will be in the trenches this week, making the long trip out to College Station to watch the game versus Texas A&M.
Could be a tough one.
Thoughts and prayers for Mike as he goes out there amongst the Colt this weekend.
And I will not be there Friday night. There's no chance.
Yeah, Mike's going to be there with his overalls on to see if he can get in on that yell thing they do. All right, guys, we're gonna give our thoughts, some real quick emotional thoughts on this game this weekend. I'm gonna let Wes kick it off. Wes, just give us what's them raw thoughts about that Florida Georgia game.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep it short. Hirsch, appreciate it. First, the positive. We've hopped on Bernie, his improvement this year. Shout out to Mike's boy. I let Mike plug that when he wants to plug that. But Bernie caused 2 turnovers. He forced a fumble and he had an interception.
Bernie was
something that was something else. He had a little fluky play where he made a great play. He ran with the tight end, and it's just something that at that point I realized it wasn't going to be our day. When Bowers took that play to the house, I was like, man, I mean that was just crazy. So other than that, my boy Chris Mack. I don't know I think I saw this guy first when he first flashed. A lot of us watch football a lot, especially me and my guys, Mike and Hirsch. We know football. We watch football, not just Florida football. We watch a vastly amount of football, NFL, college, even high school. So when I saw Chris early in the season, I knew this guy was a stud. He continues to be a stud. So I'm going to hype my guy up. That guy had a hell of a game. I still think he needs to play more. He flashed again this week. Kid's a freaking stud. So love what I saw from Chris Mack. Deeney actually had a pretty good game. I saw him break up a pass. He still celebrated again, doing that crazy stuff. I don't know why he continues to do that, but he had a decent game playing that safety. I know we weren't going, but offensive line. I pointed out to Kingsley, and he was garbage. I mean, the offensive line didn't AR. I know people want to hop on AR, but our offensive line, you can look at the amount of time that Stetson had to pass compared with the AR had to pass, it was ridiculous. So it's my thoughts.
All right, Mike, hit us with it, man. What you think?
Yeah, we did the exact thing we should. I said we couldn't do. We started slow.
Very.
Yeah. It's wasn't fun to be at, and luckily I was still feeling the effects of the pregame, so kind of helped me out there. Anyways, so we had started slow. Once again, having that occur was highly disappointing. The normal effects of the offense, ARs, miscues as well, O-line not looking good. Just when it's consistently the same issues, it's highly disappointing. And defense played a lot better than I expected. They really stepped up to the plate. I'll get into specifics in a little bit. But overall, I actually loved what the team did in the second half, especially. They showed the exact same thing, what they've had to, and that's resiliency. There's not a score, there's not a team in the country that can put this team put this team out of their misery. And that shows a lot about this football team. No matter where the game's played, if it's at Neyland, if it's at World's Largest Outdoor Cocktail Party, if it's in the swamp, this team can and will come back. That's just a fact.
This is going to be a real quick rant for me. One team was much more talented than the other, and it showed on the football field. Plain and simple. We don't have the horses yet. We just don't. We know the reasons. We've stressed them on this show. We've said it over and over again. We do not have the horses yet to run with a team of that caliber. But, as Mike said, we have the fight. This team has the fight to play with anybody in the country. And y'all can say, well, that's a moral victory or you don't get a trophy for that, whatever. That's fine, and you'd be correct. You don't. You don't get anything for that. But that's the kind of improvement that we've been talking about that you needed to see. That's the kind of progression. You need to see that your team has fight and they believe in themselves that they can stay in the game and not go, well, here we go again. We're getting whipped. Might as well just lay down and play dead. The Mullen mentality that we had last year is being swept away. I take that as a plus. That's not one of those stats that show up on the stat sheet. You're not going to see it. You have to actually watch the game and see and know the difference in what you watched last year to know the difference. So we don't have the horses yet. Got to get the horses, and the coaching and the plan will come with it. I mean, it's just a matter of that's what's got to happen. Flip the roster, and we move on. So with that being said, guys, we're gonna kind of roundtable it for a second. We're gonna talk about a few things like what went right, what went wrong, and just kind of kick it around for a second. So, Mike, what in your eyes, what went right?
I can't believe I'm saying this. Mari Burney is playing his second best player in defense.
Somebody called that.
He played like a day 2 draft pick. He contained. We did what we needed to do to win in terms of containing Brock Bowers. And if you take away that egregious phantom call right before the half, we are top. It's a 21-20 ball game in the second half. And I'm talking about that defensive pass interference, which was actually truly offensive pass interference
on Jason Marshall. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was getting there on Jason Marshall. So he shut. I'm gonna say he shut Brock Bowers down. Brock Bowers is arguably the top 5 player in the country, and he shut him down. That he had an interception as well, made a couple nice stops. But that tip pass could have easily been intercepted. I mean, that's just one of those, you know what? And film is just kind of like, hey, this is bad luck. So, and another thing that went well, like I said, resiliency, and then Trey Dean. Trey Dean, everyone put him out the pasture, and he essentially got benched early on. But there was always a reason why he was playing. And this is why you don't, in the resiliency that's been shown week in, week out, this is why you can't just press the youth movement button. There's a reason why these players are playing. Now, obviously, we can increase snaps, but there's a method behind the quote-unquote madness that people think. Like, oh, put in Wilson, so on and so forth. There's a reason Dean and Burney are there. And I am ecstatic to be proven wrong about Burney and the coaching job by, the coach that has us, Bateman.
Wes, what you think went right?
I'm gonna piggyback off what you said as far in your rant, the fight of the team. A lot of people on the message boards ready to put the team out, like Mike just said about Dean. They wanted to put the whole team to passion and say this team quits. But then when we went on the run in the third quarter, you saw what the culture that I believe Billy is trying to build was there. The team didn't quit. They made some plays, starting with Mike's boy, Burney. He had strip on the running back, and then he had the pick. I mean, that ignited a semi comeback to make it respectable. Love what I saw there from the team as far as them not quitting and them still playing hard and making it a game. So I actually love that from the team as just in general. So I was very, very proud of the team. Never wavered on that as far as them being a team that doesn't compete. People don't realize we played 3 top 10 teams already. And when I get into it about what Saban and what Kirby did in their first year when they went to compare, I don't think Kirby played the number 1 team, the number 3 team, and the number 10 team in their first year. And that's not even counting Utah, which is a top 15 team as well. So I don't know if what and the thing that I take from that is we haven't been blown out. If you count this as, you might want to, you can say this may have been blown out, but we played hard. But that was against the number 3 team in the country. But we played 4 top 15 teams. Say what you want to say about this team, but we played a hard-ass schedule, and the team continues to fight, and they've been in every ball game. So proud of the team and what they did.
I was very pleased with the halftime adjustments. I don't know what Billy said at halftime. I mean, maybe he pointed at the scoreboard and said, hey, there's a team from Georgia, and it's 28-3. I mean, hey, we've got a chance. But they came out and fought, man. They fought. And like I said, at the end, we didn't have the horses to stay. We gave them a battle, and then we fell off. It is what it is. You have to accept it. I think most people understood what was going to happen going into this game. I don't think the score is completely representative of how the game went, but then again, it is, because it was 28-3 at halftime. So, I mean, it was a very weird game to me. The ebb and flow of it was crazy. And maybe I didn't, we'll get into what I didn't like in a second. But yeah, I really like the halftime adjustments. That was one of the better examples we've seen of it this season as far as making adjustments at halftime. So now we're going to talk about what went wrong, guys. Wes, your turn on this. I'll give it to you. Where did we miss, man? I think I know where you're going on this one.
Muted.
Yeah, my bad. The trenches, both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Third quarter, we make the comeback. What did Georgia do? Take the ball out of Stetson Bennett's hand and ran the ball down damn throats. Basically, what happened? They said, we're not going to let Stetson throw it. We're just going to run the ball. That's what happened. People want to hop on AR, didn't have a good game. Did you see, as in my rant, did you see the time that AR had to throw the ball? Wasn't a lot. Wasn't a nice pocket back there. Could he have made some more players? More plays? Yeah. I'm still on him being a first-year player, him being new to this type of offense, and he has to get better each week. But he wasn't the reason why we lost this game. The reason why we lost this game was the trenches. And that's what happened. When Hurst says we don't have the dogs to fight, to compete, to win, we can compete, but we're not going to win, especially in the SEC when you need trenches. You have to win in the trenches in the SEC. That's what we're about. We're not the Big 12. We're not the ACC. We're not the Pac-12. We're the SEC. So when Mike says we need a nose, that's where I'm at. And when I say we need more offensive line,
whoa. Do we have breaking news?
That's where we at.
Hold up.
Well, hold on. We got more segments for that. We got more segments for that to be. We'll talk about that more in a little bit.
All right. Just bring it back to that.
So I'll handle that later because you kind of made me left my train of thought. But this is why I say maybe Chris McCullum should play more because he's in the backfield. But we lost in the trenches, and I'm gonna leave it at that because we have to do better in the trenches on both sides of the ball. My pick last week, if you guys don't remember, was Kingsley, and I spoke about him in my rant. He had a horrible game, just horrible. He was in the backfield the entire game. Mike's boy, Jalen Carter, who Mike says is going to be a top 5 pick. I don't disagree there. When he played his 20 snaps, whatever it was that he was projected to play, he whipped him. And whoever else was there. It was crazy, man. So we got to do better there in recruiting.
Mike, what went wrong?
Well, Wes's prediction for this game, because remember back in the day, I said Jalen Carter was the best player on this field. But that's not here nor there. My memories just happen to be superb. All right, with that being said, all seriousness, I'll go obviously the trenches, but I'll specifically go about the O-line. Between that, we did get some runs off, but it was just overall this penetration throughout, and they were nicked up in addition to that. So I don't even want to know what would have happened with a full strength, Jalen Carter. And in addition to next, Anthony, you guys are gonna think I'm beating him up. I have an expectation, and I need to see more from Anthony Richardson. I don't care what you want to say. He has the ability to make the plays to get at least a touchdown, a score before the half. Like I don't care how you spin it. He had if it's a run, but I'm seeing too many just throws that aren't where he can easily make the throw that are just wide, hit to dirt, sail, so on and so forth. So in my opinion, those are going to be the two major things: O-line and ARs and accuracies.
Boy, what went wrong? A lot. Rashad Torrance went wrong a lot. But that's here nor there. Our safety play still just baffles me. But I'm not going to continue to harp that because it's been beat to death, like Mike was saying a second ago. I mean, many times can you talk about it? Our offensive line. Well, I mean, y'all guys covered it. I mean, I'm just gonna reiterate. I mean, our offensive line just looked befuddled, to use a word of big stature there. I even saw Torrance getting back down. I mean, but again, you got Carter going one-on-one with you. It's a top 5 versus a guy that might sneak into the first round. I mean, and that guy's a beast. I mean, I don't care who maybe we should have had a better plan for doubling him up or something. I don't know what to tell you. One of their best players goes out early, Nolan Smith, and doesn't return. I mean, a lot of disguised blitzes. I felt like we looked very confused. Our pass, not just the front five, but even our running backs didn't look good in pass protection. I saw Lingard in one of the plays that he was in there in the second half of the game. As soon as the ball was snapped, he ran forward to help Tarquin block his man, and linebacker came around the end, and AR had to throw the ball away. Well, that's why you don't see him getting possibly as much playing time as you would like, because maybe he just doesn't know his assignments, because he has to wait on that man to pick up the block to give your your quarterback a clean pocket. It's just little things. But the problem is it's been little things for every game we've lost and some of the ones we've won. Just little things, just beating us up. Coaches have said it. Coaches said it over and over again. Just one guy missing his assignment kills a whole play. Well, it's just we got to get moving. It's just we got to get it right. It's just anyway. I'm not gonna sit here and beat it up. Like I said, the game was what we thought it was gonna be. I can't be upset when I knew what was probably gonna happen. I want to see some improvements in some areas, and I sure thought our offensive line would be better than it is. But guys, just as a general train of thought before we move on, what are your thoughts about the team going forward? Obviously not just this week, as we'll cover the Texas A&M game momentarily, but what do we want to see? What do we want to see going forward? Wes, or no, Mike, you go first. I'm sorry.
I just want to see us start fast. I've given up on certain players like Kingsley. I don't need to see him on my roster anymore. And honestly, just give me 6 wins. I want 6 wins. Actually, 6 wins, 6 to 7 wins, and definitely beating Florida State. So that's all I'm looking for. Ideally, I want to see progression out of AR. I don't think that's ever going to happen. And but just to start fast. That's my main thing.
Wes?
To Mike's point, we do need to get 6 wins so we can get more practices. Like the beginning of the season, besides Vanderbilt, which we should win, through the next 4 games are coin flip games. We said that at the beginning of the year. You guys basically, I didn't say this as much as you guys, but you guys kind of hit it on that point that all the games, majority of them, except for Georgia, and maybe A&M, were coin flip games. And this game, the next game, Texas A&M, coin flip, USC, coin flip, Vanderbilt, we should win, Florida State, coin flip. I don't think we're that good where we should go out there and we can roll our hammers out and beat Florida State either. So we got to win 2 out of the next 4. I hope if we can win 3 out of the next 4, that will look very. If we win all 4, I just want to see a positive momentum going into bowl season where the team feels good, the culture feels good, the fan base feels good, and even in recruiting, all that combined into one, we need to feel good going into December. So this last month, I need positive vibes for the fan base, for the team, and just for the culture in the future.
I just want to see us grow off the positive things that we had coming out of this game. Coverage schemes looked a lot better. I saw a lot of things I liked. I'd like to see us continue to do that. And I want to continue to see Trevor Etienne involved in every way humanly possible. I think the kid is absolutely the future. I love Montrell Johnson as well. I know he's a big time back, but Trevor is electric, and he should touch the ball several more times a game than he does. So with that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and try to move it on forward. I know that wasn't so much of a raw reaction, but it was our thoughts. And, I hope we echoed and touched on a lot of things that you guys were seeing and thinking. And I'm sure everybody could have watched that game and come up with tons of different things to nitpick, but
damn near got that score prediction on.
Mike did. Mike said 41-23. He was right there. I was at 38-24. I thought we'd hold him under 40, and Wes, of course, picked us to win because the hype man never says die. Never say die. All right, guys. Well, we're going to close the book on that. We're going to move on forward. Ain't no sense looking back. So that being said, guys, we're going to jump right on in like we do every week. We're going to talk about a few things in recruiting, starting with Under the Lights. We don't have a whole lot of stuff this week. Wasn't a whole lot of information out there this week, but Wes just going to run down a couple of things for us, and we're going to keep it moving because we got other big news we need to discuss. Wes?
Yeah, appreciate it, Hurst. I'm just going to hit on two guys this week because of the time. Make sure we get some guys in there with recruiting two of our backs. Two of our commits. So we're going to start first with our guy, one of the leaders in the class, Treon Webb. He had a 74-yard TD run on the night as last Friday as Trinity Christian moved to 9-0 in the season. His QB Colin Hurley, who we are looking at as well, he was out with injury for 3 weeks, so Trey had to take on a load, and they improved on the season to 9-0. Our quarterback in the class, Marcus Stokes, continues to put up some stats. This is another week where he had 3 rushing TDs, even though his team overall lost in overtime. So big shout out to those guys on our Friday night performances. Treon Webb, Marcus Stokes, the quarterback and running back in the class. So big shout out to those two guys.
Yes, sir. Not like I said, not a whole lot out there, but Treon Webb, man, just continues to be an absolute monster. We really got ourselves a good one with that. So, guys, let's jump right into the next. Let's just call it what it is. The next kick in the nuts, if you will. Maybe a bigger kick than losing to Georgia this week, even. Guys, Cormani McClain has selected the University of Miami in a probably the most shocking recruiting move that I have ever seen. That was right up there with Marcus Stroud picking Georgia over Florida years and years ago for those that followed recruiting back then. Guys, I mean, let's talk about it. Who wants to start? Who wants to get these emotions out? Let's just get it out on the table, guys.
I mean, I was shocked, obviously. People I was talking to, that was done deal for months. I followed up, done deal. But then again, some folks were a little bit uneasy night before. So it's about the only person probably, but end of the day, this is, like you said, another shock. I was at the time getting a chicken tender pub sub. So I mean, I was trying to relax,
Shout out Publix.
Fire some trolls, but that didn't happen. My phone rang a couple times, obviously, but yeah, it was quite the shock. After taking everything in, I'm not sad. Surprisingly, I do have emotion on it, obviously, but it's a huge hit to overall class. Now, he's a very talented player, but and we'll talk about it after you guys get your initial thoughts off. How this all went down, and when you take a true evaluation of the what occurred, I've been more upset about other players. I'll leave it at that.
Wes, how you feel? Stabbed, hurt, treated badly?
I was disappointed. It bothered me, but when I looked at the totality, I'm the Sunshine Pupper. I looked at the totality of our recruiting class. I'm like, we're straight. It wasn't like if we lost this guy, then we don't have any DBs in our class. We have a lot of good DBs in the class. So I had to get back to, okay, he's with the enemy, so F him. If you don't want to be a Gator and you call yourself a Gator fan, then growing up, then you don't do what you did. We all know the backstory. I won't get into it here, but if you're going to do that, then you were never truly a true Gator. So I don't have no love lost. No, fine, whatever. There's another guy on the board that we'll get to later, but The DB class didn't fall apart because we didn't get them. The reason why it kind of hurt me the most is because, like Mike said, the trolls that you wanted to get off, and then to the point of where this class has the ability to be at. We were hoping that we could get to that, to that 6, 7, maybe top 5 mark. And that's where it stung the most, not because of just the talent of the guy, because of the guys we already had on the board. I was fine with that part. I wanted that top 5 class to get close to it where, we can get, everybody, we want to get those trolls off and talk trash. So that's where it hurt the most.
You know what? You bring up something very interesting with that. I'm actually going to pivot off of what I was going to talk about. A lot of recruiting hasn't become about being excited about your team getting better. It's more become about, we get to troll our rivals. And it's happening more and more. And I blame Mike.
Whoa.
I had to get Mike there because Mike is the resident troll of this show.
I was actually just told today by an unknown fan base, because apparently I only troll their fan base, and I want to say get in line.
Goodness. No, I've got examples.
Literally 6.
Mike pulls no punch. Mike, no one is safe. Mike trolls NFL fan bases, college fan bases, basketball franchises. Mike
opportunity.
Yes, Mike is an equal opportunity troll. But no, guys, all seriousness,
all genders.
Yeah, at first I was very hurt, and then I sat there and I wondered, well, is it more because of what we needed or more because of bragging rights? Because here's the thing, and I've said it before to other people and in other places. I don't think Cormani's that kid that's going to bring other kids into your class. He doesn't have that quarterback swag.
Hey, real quick, Hirsch, sorry to interrupt, and I want you to expand on that. Who's louder in this class? Who's going to bring more? Webb or Cormani in terms of a local leader?
Webb absolutely has. From day one, from the moment Webb joined this class, Webb has been the premier recruiter. You never see Cormani talk on social media or anything, and that's fine. That's what kind of kid he is. I understand it. I'm an introverted person myself. I don't care anything about talking to groups of people and stuff like that. To each their own. Some cornerbacks like Dion are all flair, and then you have the Patrick Surtains of the world who don't do a lot of talking and stuff like that. That's what it is. But he's not that kid that people are going to say, oh, Cormani committed there. Now I want to go there. You want to go play with a cornerback? That's not generally how that works. I mean, so if you want to get upset if we were to lose a recruit, get upset if we lose on DJ Lagway, which hopefully we don't. But I'm just saying, DJ is the kind of recruit going forward that you're going to be, that's the kid we need to be a leader of the class. Cormani you want because he's an elite football player.
Yeah, exactly.
But we have, as Wes said, we've got corners on board. Jakeem Jackson is a fantastic corner. Do not sleep on him. Dejon Johnson, Denson. I mean, we're solid, and we are still. Don't listen to whatever you hear. We're squarely in the mix with Desmond Ricks. We'll talk about him more in a second. So, with that said, we're going to put that hurt out of our heart, and we're going to move on and put some more hurt in our heart by talking about our boy Caden McDonald.
Hey, Hirsch, before you get to that, you mind if I add a couple things?
Yeah, do the old piggyback.
Yeah, so just a couple little things on Cormani I just wanted to expand on. First and foremost, he's not an immediate starter. Okay, he's gonna long term. He's risking a lot going to Miami. Hey, if you want to go there, hey, more power to you. I'm not gonna hate on your decision. It's your life, not mine. But he's risking a lot. That program, like just certain programs, they're known like Georgia with running backs and like linebackers, for example. Florida with corners, actually. USC with quarterbacks. So there's certain programs that are known to produce that. Even Miami, they're known to produce somewhat tight ends, but defensive ends. That's what they do. They're not known to produce corners. And if you go back historically, I mean, we're talking like a Kelly Jennings, intro role. There's another one, but it's very few and far between, and they're not successful in the NFL. So if you're also going to a coach who's not produced high-level talent in the NFL. And last year, Muschamp was a coach. I don't care what anyone wants to think. He was coaching them DBs at University of Georgia. And Mario, he has put out big-time NFL players, not a corner. So you're going against – you're not going to let Corey Raymond coach you up? I've said the same about Brian Hartline. I don't want a kid, but it raises a lot of red flags if you don't want a Corey Raymond or Brian Hartline type of coach to develop you and coach you up, especially when you're in a Gator hole. I know he burned a lot of bridges. No need to get into which ones, how this was handled. I'll leave it at that.
A lot in the Lakeland area.
A lot of bridges. This is just it's how it's looking. It's a lack of long-term thinking. Let's just say he got an X amount of dollars. Florida may not have been there exactly, but say you're there halfway, approximately. Let's just say, I mean, who am I to say what's $2-3 million? I'm not in a position to say that, but like, what if you don't even get drafted? What if you get drafted at the end of the first round as opposed to at a singly at top five overall? That's a significant amount. What about the second contract? He's got to put 20 to 30 pounds on. He has to learn to play with that. His potential is through the roof. Okay. However, he has to learn to play with that potential. He has to have a certain mindset. All right. And also, I mean, it does hurt us from the national perspective as well. That's where I was, you want that. Florida's got the number 2 player in the country. That's huge. You can piggyback off that, so back-to-back years, Perkins on this, I do not blame the staff on this. And the last thing I'll leave it at is you got to ask the question, is he scared of competition? Because you don't see big time. I'm being straight up. If you would have went to Bama, hey, I don't blame you. How many big time players like this you see go to ACC outside Clemson?
Let's not skip past what you just said as well. He didn't just spurn Florida. He spurned Bama as well. Do not think that it was just like Bama wasn't in this. Bama was thought possibly to be the favorite as much as 2 weeks ago. And
if he goes there, guess what? Hey, I get it.
You can't argue it.
I'm not mad at it. And I'm not here to make a joke about the attendance, even the win-loss record. But you're going to go to ACC, and once again, you're going to go and you're going on a hope and a prayer to get developed, because no one on that staff has shown they can develop you. And you have to gain 20 to 30. He's $165, and the potential is through the roof. However, you still have to get developed. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, guys, we're not going to sit there. I mean, we could sit here probably and do a whole show on this, and maybe we should have. But I think we were all kind of just shell-shocked. And if we had, we probably would have said some things we regretted at the moment. Probably just best. All I can say, one last tidbit is, I know there's a couple of large individuals in Lakeland that aren't very happy with the way that all went down. But that's been put out there several places. I'll let you do the connecting of the dots on that. Like I said, guys, then we got to move on to some more heartbreak. Caden McDonald. Boy, I know Mike's about to talk a lot more now. Boy, geez. We said we'd hit back on the defensive tackle portion of this
tonight.
Man. Caden McDonald on Halloween chose the Ohio State University. Boy, I tell you what, I don't know many Georgia boys that go play in the snow. It doesn't happen very often. But here we are. All right, Mike, rant, let it all out.
I'm not going to truly bag on Chaos here. He still has another one on the board. However, he won over Mom. So, but I can't get mad when you lose the best D-line coach in the country, Larry Johnson, at Ohio State. However, even if we get, let's just say, like a John Walker's not a nose. You don't want your nose penetrating. You want your nose to eat blockers, okay? So I'm not. Let's just say you got Dez, you got McClellan, depending on where they want to play him.
Let me ask you this question, Mike.
What's that?
Let me ask you this question. I didn't mean to cut you off. Deron Payne, I'm bringing these guys up because they played for Bama, and they played for my team, Washington, in the NFL. Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, neither one of those guys are nose, but they both play D tackle. They both start. Can you be sufficed with McCullen and a Walker doing what Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne did? Neither one of them.
Deron Payne's not a penetrating tackle. He wasn't drafted as that. You can look at the draft eval. He's not a penetrating tackle. Jonathan Allen is. So that's a fact. You know this. So I don't know why you brought it up.
No, he is.
Okay. We can. We're getting, unless you bring me some stats to back that up. But I already know his draft profile. But we're getting off track. Yes, you can, but you want to put your players to their full strengths. Look at Walker's stats. He's a penetrating tackle. Yeah, you keep saying McClellan's penetrating. Okay. But end of the day, you need to protect your linebackers, especially if you're going in a 3-3-5. Your job's not necessarily, sometimes your job will be to penetrate, but sometimes your job will be need to eat blockers. Well, I need a Desmond Watson type, maybe minus 50 pounds to eat blockers. So no, I mean, that's just how it is. And give me a guy next to Gerb, split these reps. Okay, it's gonna change the scheme. Now we need to at least get a developmental guy and a guy in a portal. So now we're relying on the portal for the 8th year in a row. And that's it. I mean, it is what it is. Who's on the board? Who's on the board is gonna be ready in 2 years? Nobody. To get as a true nose tackle. And the guy from South Carolina, you do not like. And he is so who? Give me a name. You want to talk about the board? I'll give you Walker. He's not a nose. He can play nose. Is a big difference. A lot of people can play slot. He can play a slot receiver, but he's better on the outside.
When you say nose, I like that guy as a rotational guy, not a guy that I see on the field all 3 downs. And I think that's what you're getting at. That's why I brought up Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen. Or I can go to Florida and bring up Dominique Easley and Sharif Floyd. Both of those guys played D tackle, but neither one were a true nose, but yet they were dominant. When you look at it like that, you want that guy when it's 3rd and 1, but I don't know if you really want, because Sharif Floyd and Dominique Easley were dominant when they played D tackle, whether it was 3rd and 1 or whatever. So they didn't have to come off the field. When you have that type of guy like Desmond Watson, you don't want him on the field on 3rd and 1, so you can use that type of guy. So I don't think it's as needed as you may think when you have a guy like Chris McCullen that can do the job if he's next to a guy that Dexter who's unperforming. Chris McCullen is doing what Dexter didn't do his freshman year. This guy is an absolute atom, and when we're saying he's playing out of position, if you get somebody next to him that a Walker, however you put them on the field, if Walker fills the Dexter spot, or McCullen goes to Dexter spot and Walker plays the Chris McCullen spot, then you're good either way. So if you look at Dominique Easley and Sharif Floyd, or Caleb Brantley and Jonathan Bullard, or whomever, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, like I brought up, is not that big of a need as far as somebody that you want to say that you're going to play 50 snaps a game. I don't see a true nose playing.
You don't want anybody internal and inside to play that many snaps. Gerb, off the first show, when the snap count was like 67, he said he's done. It's gonna kill him this season. And what happened? He's injured. You can't play that many on the inside. There's too much chaos going on. No pun intended. So with that being said, they need to rotate. So yes or no? Do we have to get a guy in the portal?
Let me say this. I'm going to add something before we move on. I think we already needed a guy in the portal.
That's what I was going to say. Whether we
I think that we were probably headed that way anyway. Because like you said, we need an immediate help, not a developmental help. We need somebody that can play next year.
But you could also at the same time argue that McDonald didn't need that developmental. Now there's no one.
You can't argue that. You don't know. You don't know if any kid can step in and play next year. I mean, that's just you're hit or miss with any of that. Here's the one thing I will say. Missing on Jackson before the season and letting him go to Miami for whatever they paid for him ended up biting you in the ass. Because that kid right now has more sacks than anyone on our defensive line.
Huge whiff.
And that's just a fact. I mean, he he's got more sacks than any defensive lineman we had. Now he plays against the ACC talent. I mean, but still, he's getting results.
Yeah, not speaking
that
about
was
Jackson.
a must get for me once again.
Speaking of Chris McDonald, but he is that type of guy that gets in the backfield. You said we don't want that type of guy. You want somebody to eat up blocks, but he's a guy that almost has 30 tackles for loss. That's what he does.
He's playing a high school
just like
football.
Walker. He's just like Walker there. He's the same guy.
All right, different body.
We're doomed to discuss this until the situation is fixed, and I don't look like it's anytime soon. So let's just save it.
Yeah, I don't even know if we have a nose. I don't know if we have a nose on our board anymore. So.
One last piece of news before we move on out of recruiting and get on into the game week. Desmond Ricks this week went ahead and lined up a official visit for the first weekend in December. And looks like that would be the next weekend that Florida is going to pinpoint for any more official visits to be made right there before the early signing day period. I don't know if Ricks plans on deciding before early signing day, but that would certainly benefit us if he does, because he's going to visit LSU and Bama before that. So, guys,
yeah, he has an unofficial this weekend with LSU, and then he's taking official in December.
Oh, maybe I read that wrong. Guys, is Ricks a must get at this point after you miss Cormani?
No,
I agree.
With some context,
Cormani was a +1.
Yeah, no. To add some context to it, because I already spoke about how defensive classes are already good. If you want the perception out there that, hey, we just got another top 10 guy, isn't Ricks in the top 10? If I'm not mistaken, he's a top 10 guy.
He's top. No, he's not. He's like top 15 because of the way they reclassified him. I mean, it doesn't matter. He was one of the top guys in the 2024 class, and I will say this: I think Ricks is built more that he could play next year.
Exactly.
If we needed him to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's a bigger body type.
And Ricks is 100% a day one starter. Cormani is not a day one starter. Could he start his freshman year? Yes.
Yes, and Connor covered that last week when we had him on the show. That, I mean, does he have the talent? Yes, we already covered that. Does he have the body size? No. And the funny thing is even Miami fans were saying that the morning that Cormani was to commit was they didn't want Cormani, and no, Miami fans, I know all of you weren't saying it, but there were a couple that were like, I don't want a 160-pound cornerback. I'd rather have, things people say when they don't think they're getting a kid, and then they end up getting him, and all those takes change. But that's it. We're going to quit talking about recruiting right now because it's making us sad, and we don't like it. Hopefully we get some positive news coming out soon, get people, much more back in the recruiting spirit. Guys, one last thing before I move on. Getting on out there and trashing the Gator Collective and all of that stuff doesn't help our recruiting efforts whatsoever. I understand, that you pay your $9.99 a month and whatever not, and everybody does, and we do our part. But the Gator Collective had no part in the Cormani kind of stuff. They don't. The Gator Collective does not drop bags or anything of that nature. They don't sign kids to deals till they get on campus. So that's not how that works. There's other places to direct those frustrations. So let's move it on, guys. It's Texas A&M week, like we said. Mike's heading on out to College Station to hit the trenches hard and hang out with the overall boys and that weird shit that they do. Yeah, I said it. Mike, what you got for us on Texas A&M?
Yeah, good old TAMU, the dumpster fire themselves.
The Colt.
Yeah, it's definitely Colt. So Jimbo Fisher, obviously the head coach over there, he's entering his 5th season. In 2017, he signed a 10-year, $75 million contract. The team is 3-5, 6 in the SEC West with a 1-4 conference record. Their stadium, known as Kyle Field, seats over 102,000 people, and their overall wearing Colt members call call themselves the 12th man. During the little tidbit there, during the South Carolina game, 3 freshmen were suspended indefinitely. That includes cornerback Denver Harris, former 5-star, wide receiver Chris Marshall, and offensive lineman P.J. Williams. This was as a result of a locker room incident that weekend versus South Carolina once again, and they all hail from the quote-unquote best class ever last year. So now to go into some of the stats. Offensively, they're averaging 21.4 points per game. That's good for 99th in the country. Real powerhouse there. And on third down, this is going to help us. So this is going to be the battle of the worst. They're 112th in the country at a 31.4% clip. Defensively, they're giving up 24.9 points a game, good for 50th in the country, and sacks. So this is, once again, it's going to be intriguing. Best of the worst. They're good for 106 in the country at 1.4 sacks per game. But they actually are pretty good against the pass at 11th in the country, giving up 181.4 yards a game. Some notable games they've played so far. I think a lot of folks, especially Hirsch, recall this. The game, App State, 16.5-point underdogs.
Mike's greatest moment since we started this podcast.
Possibly life. They lost the App State at home, 14-17. Arkansas, they won, and that was a last-minute field goal, 23-21. I think Arkansas missed that one, actually. And they had a tough game at Bama, played very well, but horrible called in that game. They lost that game 20-24. They are currently in the midst of a 4-game losing streak. Mississippi State, it's going to be lost one there. Sorry. Some of the teams there is going to be Mississippi State, South Carolina, and Ole Miss. Oh, and Alabama. My apologies. Now, for the impact players, their running back is an absolute stud. Devon, I'm going to butcher this. Etienne, he's rushed for 765 yards on the season, 5.4 yards, an average, 4 touchdowns. Now, here's the kicker. Passing, he's their second leading receiver at 33 receptions, 195 yards and 2 touchdowns. Their wide receiver, Evan Stewart, rest in peace, 38 receptions, 478 yards, 2 touchdowns on the season. Second, they have a couple of receivers as well, but the next one's going to be Moose Muhammad III, 23 catches, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns. Their 2 of their best defenders are going to be Chris Russell Jr., 52 total tackles, 2.5 sacks, a pass defended. And lastly, defensive back Jordan Gilbert, 52 tackles, again, 4 passes defended, but 2 interceptions. So they definitely have playmakers on both sides of the ball. As for injuries, they're fairly healthy heading into the game.
Yep. Guys, anything about, you want to discuss about Texas A&M before we move on to Florida? Anything that stands out to you, Mike? Obviously, you just hit on some really good info, but.
I will be talking about a little bit later. Just one player I want to highlight, and this is why I think, it's going to be the difference in the game. Haynes King. He has past couple of games. He's definitely progressed. I'll give him that. Played decent at Bama, but he's looked every bit of a true freshman this year. So every game this season, excluding the games he's played because he did get benched, excluding Sam Houston State, he's 61 of 111 for 577 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 picks. So that's in 4 games. So in 4 games, he's had 4 losses.
Well, I guess it's a good thing he's not playing quarterback anymore. They've got the freshman wonder kid now is starting. Freaking kid. We hope we don't make him look like a superstar this week. Wes, what you got thinking? Any thoughts on A&M before we move on?
Yeah, just a couple thoughts. Maybe just one. Something I've been telling Mike for the last 2 years just before we started the podcast. Shout out to our boy Swamp. He knows I've been saying this as well. Jimbo is garbage. You already know what I was about to say. I've been telling Mike this. Jimbo ain't it. football seems like it's passed him by as far as offensively. He's not that good, and the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, man. I mean, they looked a lot better with the new quarterback last week. Hopefully we can get some confusion on the kid, and maybe, I mean, it would be the first time this year I think we've done that. But
you think they stick with him?
Kid threw 4 touchdown passes last week. I mean,
all right. I know Jimbo plays little musical chairs. That's why I wanted to add Haynes King there. But
I mean,
who did they play for him to throw that? That's you have to look at like who they're playing as well too.
They played Ole Miss. They played a ranked team.
Vanderbilt scored on Ole Miss. That's why I said that, because
I understand that. I understand their but I mean, our defense ain't nothing to. I mean, it's not like I can't trash Ole Miss's defense when we're looking at ours.
Yeah, I just want to get up. Let's get a stat.
Yeah, you're right, and he may absolutely. You never know with Jimbo. He's moving like that.
Jimbo, to his credit, he did say before the season that Connor Weigman is Weigman. Weigman. He was all in on this guy. So we'll see what Connor can do. Hopefully, I'll speak to this later in my things for the game. But he was highly recruited. He's a true freshman, so we'll see.
All right, guys, let's move on and talk about some UF news. And man, I'm telling you, this was a week. But this one, I don't know if it's a hit or not. I mean, is it immediately? Yes. But it came out early in the week, right out of nowhere. Brenton Cox, defensive end, or jack linebacker, as they like to call him, that former 5-star recruit that came over from UGA, was dismissed from the team. I mean, you talk about something that absolutely just dropped out of the sky. I don't know if Billy's trying to send a message. Now, I had heard in a few places that Cox, quote unquote, did something to a coach you can't do. I don't know if that means he pushed him, he hit him, maybe called his mama a name. I mean, I really don't know what that is because I don't have the specifics on it. But it's pretty obvious here that Billy Napier decided he needed to go ahead and send a message, and he didn't hesitate to do so, and did it with a fairly important piece to the defense. What are our thoughts on Brenton Cox being dismissed from this football team? And what does it do?
Cut the fat. Obviously, I'd want him for the stretch run. He's a talented football player. We're down a starter. One of the most talented players on the team. That's without a doubt. However, if you let one bad apple, you see how this team's fighting. But if you let one bad apple stay, it can make the whole bunch rotten. So I'm glad what happened.
If in your first year you're trying to build a culture, you're trying to have your freshmen, your sophomores understand what you're doing, and if he did what some of the things that we kind of heard of what's out there that he did, this is how you instill that culture. This is how you foster what you're trying to implement in the team, and you do what you have to do. We kind of want to see some of the young guys that there's no secret that Brenton Cox was going to be here next year. So now we get to see maybe some more young guys and see what they are capable to do, because Cox was playing basically. So now we see.
Is it too late to trade him and Bogle again?
No, I don't know. I don't know, man.
That's what pretty much happened. So
apparently, I guess the joke goes down that in the end, Brenton Cox couldn't contain himself.
Jesus.
Woo! I got dad jokes for days, boys.
No, that's pretty good. No.
I like that one.
Can't get mad.
On the depth chart, Cox is replaced by Antoine Powell as the starter.
Played very well
with Mike's man. Lloyd Summerall backing him up. Mike's a big Summerall fan. If y'all didn't know, send him questions. He knows everything. But Powell has played really well, and honestly, he can't. I don't want to say that Cox has played bad because he absolutely has not played terrible, but he's not going to play much worse. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think, Powell can definitely provide. I think he'll provide a more coachable effort than Cox does.
Maybe so, but you're going to rotate him. Now Lloyd Summerall's playing. That's what it's going to come down to, unfortunately. Lloyd Summerall's not a good football player.
See, I knew I'd bait him into it.
Yeah, I'll say it. I don't care. I'm sorry. He could be a nice guy. I'm sure he's a great. I'm not sure. I wish I was wrong. I've been right since he signed with us. I said if he sees the field, we have a problem. Well, Houston, we have a problem.
Well, like I said, hopefully it sends the right message to these boys that you're either on board or you're not. At that point, Brenton Cox went ahead and declared for the NFL draft. Godspeed to him. Wish him the best. I like all that good stuff. Huh?
I'm a fan of how he handled it.
Yes, that could have been a very ugly public scene, and he handled it like a professional.
For that.
But he also knows how he handles it from that point forth as being scrutinized by anybody in the draft. So
you're right. You're right.
Guys, let's talk about a few injuries. Billy had his press conference right before we went on the air, discussed a few things. Earlier in the week, it was someone was put out there that Keon Zipper was going to be out for the rest of the season, but Billy was asked specifically about that at his press conference, and he said that was not the case, that he did have a little bit of a knee problem, but it wasn't something that was a long-term injury. Now that might just be coach speak, and it may be one of those things you see getting dragged out each and every week, and he just doesn't come back. But Billy kind of laughed that off and made it sound like we'd see Zipper again. Tight end room continues to shrink, though. So that to me is an issue for sure. We finally get an update on Devin Moore, who's not played since the Tennessee game, pretty much. Billy said that Devin Moore had shoulder surgery this morning. It was a pre-existing injury that he had even coming in, and that he had been trying to play through it. Usually a surgery like this sounds like he maybe have had some bone spurs or something like that up in there, maybe some chips or whatever, and they had to remove it and clean up his shoulder. They said he hopes to have him back and ready for off-season work. So Devin Moore's season is over. Now, something that maybe hurts us even more a little bit going into this game, our boy, friend of the show, Justin Shorter, who pulled up a little bit lame in the Georgia game, is dealing with a hammy issue and is a game time decision. I think we usually know how these kind of things go. Even if he gives it a go, he's not going to be 100%. This might be a chance for some younger guys like Marcus Burke to get some shine. I know Marcus was in late against Georgia and had a catch. Young guys got to step up, man. Guy goes down, young guys up. This is your time to prove yourself.
Not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob. And finally, Scooby Williams is listed as questionable on the depth chart with a lower body injury. So I don't know if Scooby will play or not, but that is another – jeez, our linebacker room is getting thinner by the day. Going to be some chances maybe for Wingo to play and show what he's got.
And in my opinion, Williams is our only linebacker backup.
Really? Shamar.
Oh, my apologies. I'm blanking. My apologies. But we only have the two. So now we're down to one. I'm not counting Blacker. Well,
Mike needs a nap.
I do.
All right, guys. Let's get off some of this sorrow stuff and let's move it on up a notch. It's time for our pick six every week. You know, we drop the pick six. Six things overall, 3 that the Gators need to avoid to win, and 3 things the Gators need to do to beat Texas A&M. Yes, I said those in reverse, but that's all right because we're going to cover them anyway. So, guys, 3 things, 1 thing each. What do the Gators need to do to beat Texas A&M? Wes, hit us with it.
Yeah, before I say that, I want to say something about the injuries. We've came a long way from Muschamp and like having 1,000 injuries. Having we just 4 there on the list, but we used to have injuries like 20 people out.
It's been a
Anywho,
healthy season. It's been a
yeah.
healthy season.
But back to your question, I'm gonna go win the trenches, and that goes for both sides: offensive line, defensive line. We gotta win the trenches. I believe Texas A&M does have a pretty good defensive line. We'll see a guy that we tried to recruit last year, and Walter Nolan. He plays a pretty good. He gives a lot of rotation in. I'm not sure if he starts now, but I do see him a lot when I see Texas A&M on the field, and he is as advertised. I wish we had him in this last year class. We could have got him, but the kid is the real deal. So interested to see how Kingsley bounces back this week. He's going to start. There's no way around that. He's going to be there, and he has to hold up his own against that defensive line of Texas A&M. So, because I watched Nolan to see what we would have gotten when I watched Texas A&M, and the kid flashes. Just like I say, Chris McCullum flashes. He flashes just like Chris does. So that's going to be something we have to do, and hopefully Etienne can break one loose, and he can see some daylight.
Mike, what do the Gators need to do to beat Texas A&M?
I'll keep it simple. Stop the run. Got one of the better run. Actually, just better stop that running back. He's one of the better, arguably the most complete running back in the SEC. Between as I alluded to earlier, with his number 2 on the team in receptions and his yards per carry. So he definitely gets the job done. I think if we once again contain him like we did like Bowers last week, obviously different positions, but just as a player in general, go a far way for us to win.
Mine is a little different. It's not so much a certain thing we need to do on the field, but given all that's happened and where we are in this season, and in light, in lieu of the Brenton Cox situation, I think we need to come together as a team, man. I think these guys need to realize that this is the make or break run right now. We are entering it to whether this season will be a success or considered by fans, and how they are. I mean, we are, all of us, a failure. If you look at it real quick, the college football playoff rankings just came out. We've 4 losses, and 3 of them are the top 10 teams. Whether you consider LSU a top 10 team, that's whatever. But we have 3 losses, and 3 of them are the top 10 teams. And the Kentucky game, we all know we should have won, and we just pissed it away. It is what it is. So this team has been remarkably close. Now, once again, we don't take moral victories here. But this is a point, man, where you got to say, guys, we're close. We just need a few breaks far away. Don't let things get down. If they go out and score a touchdown, go out there and get one back. Stop them next time. I need this team to come together as a unit all the way around and just pick each other's up when things get tough like they have been. And I think we can beat these guys. All right, guys, 3 things we need to avoid against Texas A&M to get us a W. Mike.
AR throwing a ball into the dirt. In all seriousness, we if he's accurate, I think it'll turn into us starting fairly fast, and turning into keeping the crowd out of it, and just taking home the dub.
2 straight games, no turnover, no interceptions for AR. I mean, I know that's not like we should be bragging about that.
No, I think it's progress. It's all about progress. It's all about progress.
Just wanted to bring that up. Thanks. Shout out to Gator Dave for I saw he had put that stat out there today, and it just caught my eye. Wes, what do we need to avoid against Texas A&M?
Not have this true freshman, Connor Wegman, looking like a Heisman candidate. I don't want to see another quarterback looking like he's the next thing, the next big thing. Like he's about to be a first round pick, even though this kid may be a first round pick because he is highly recruited, but he's playing for Jimbo, so maybe not. But we need to make him look like a true.
Oh,
yeah.
Give me first round picks he's got.
And you know how many it looked like nothing, but anyway,
first round pick.
Anyway, just have the kid have him look like a true freshman. I mean, I know it's late in the season. A lot of times we say that if it's this late in the season, you're really not a freshman anymore with like 4 games to go. But the kid hasn't played enough to have that. That's usually for other players like a receiver, D lineman, linebacker, corner, whoever's out there has played a lot of football. He hasn't played a lot of football. So I need Tony to disguise some things, maybe blitz some more, confuse the kid, and make him look like the true freshman that he is.
Absolutely. I can't disagree with any of that. Mine kind of piggybacks off of what I said on my last segment. I mean, you can't have a mental letdown. You lost to Georgia last week. Now you got to go on the road. You know, never easy in the SEC, especially not easy going that far from home. Texas A&M, violent crowd. Last time we played there, they shook us. That would be the game. Our man, formerly known as Marco, got undressed in that game. Just bad things happen when you go out there to College Station. Got to be mentally strong, got to stay up. Like Mike said, don't let the crowd get into it. Take them out of it. No turnovers. Just stay up, man. Something goes wrong, you can't fold, but this team doesn't do that. So that's one thing that you can't do it now, man. Got to keep playing tough. Guys, anything in general, y'all, we want to talk about before we move on? Any things we just want to kick around?
I would say, how do you guys feel about the play calling on the offensive side of the ball?
Here's what I'm going to say to that, and this is just kind of what I've been told and kind of witnessed. I went and looked at a lot of stuff that Billy ran at Louisiana Lafayette. We're not running a lot of stuff.
Bingo. ASU and Clemson. Add that as well.
We are not running. I mean, it looks like we're running half the playbook. I was actually, somebody brought it up, and I had not gone and watched a whole lot of Louisiana Lafayette. I just hadn't. Lazy work by me. I said, well, let me go check some of that out. And I was like, we never run that play. Oh, we don't ever run that play. Well, that's a different look to a play we run, but we don't do it. Why don't we do it? And then it all comes back to one thing, and I know where Mike is going with this. At the end of the day, it's what your quarterback can soak in, comprehend, and then transcribe to the field. Is that the issue? I don't think it's the whole offense. I mean, I don't know, guys. I know that's probably your opinion of the matter.
I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't the full. That was part of it, but the main AR is not fully to blame. Our receiving core, it's not the best that I'm aware of. The old line, it's not Kingsley's. Besides Kingsley, it's not bad. So, but I think collectively, it's just a bad mix for what he wants to run at the end of the day. So
we've said it over and over again, though.
Yeah,
I mean, we've said it for weeks.
So I think
puzzle pieces.
Yeah, I think just to end it really quick on my end, I just think people need to realize, get their thought. Oh, why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing that? Like, you don't think a lot of times he can. He literally can. You can't hammer. You can't hammer a nail without a nail. It's just he doesn't have all the tools.
Now, I will say this, and Wes, I know you might have something to add to this, and I want to say it before I forget it. I will say he does run some puzzling things in situational football.
Actually, some runs, some
run plays on 3rd and long.
That isn't. Yeah.
And maybe your thought process is, yes, I'm setting it up to go for it on 4th down. But even the run play doesn't match that philosophy to me. Like
that could be lack of trust of a certain player.
And it absolutely could be. Or running, once again, I'd have to see a further out breakdown of a play, but like it's 3rd and 6 and we're running a 4-yard drag. I know
End of
your
the day,
thought
there's a lot of
process is you want
things-
your guy to fight for yards and things of that nature, but I just don't feel like, and once again, it may go back to confidence in a player. I don't feel like we're aggressive in certain situations that should be aggressive. And we said last week, this was a balls out game. I hate to go backwards, but this was supposed to be a game that you kind of let the balls hang out on plays, and we didn't really do that.
All right. However, we can all agree Billy Napier's methodical on everything he does, correct?
Very much so.
So why wouldn't it be play calling? Like there's a method. So end of the day, whatever you want to say about Georgia, it was a 20-20 ball game. No matter what you want to say.
Yeah.
In the 3rd quarter. So
Wes, what you want to add, man? Now that we've probably rocked you to sleep.
Nah, I mean, y'all brought some great points that I won't jump into because it'll make the conversation longer. It's a combination of everything. Basically, we need more talent everywhere, including the quarterback position if that's not there. But I think it's everybody, the receivers, the line,
Playmakers.
they're all, they're not there. And even some blame to Billy. I know we harped on him for weeks about the wide receiver screens. I didn't see those, but then the play that he hit shorter on is what I would like to see more of. If you just give AR a 1-read route and say we're going deep to shorter or Henderson or Ricky, I don't care who it is. If you run if they're playing man because they play a lot of man because of AR's ability to run the ball, and you want to have people in the box and try to stop our run, even if you do 21 personnel, you have Ricky in the slot, and you run the wide receiver fade out of that. Just simplify it. You're going to Ricky, 1-on-1 wide receiver fade out of the slot. That's there. Or the Justin Shorter, go route. Just go. Just do that. I want to see more just shots because to me, that's AR's strength as far as on the deep ball. If you don't want to have him read all the stuff that you guys alluded to well, if that's his issue. I would like to see more go routes because he's a great touch on his deep ball.
Well, we'll see what he pulls out of the hat this weekend. Like I said, we're entering that last stretch and everything's on the line. But like Mike also said, Billy's a methodical guy, and I don't think he's going to take the train off the tracks just to try to win some.
he's not here for 1 year.
No, and that's where I was going to go, despite whatever Mark Long thinks.
He's not here for 1 year.
Freaking loser.
You don't jeopardize your long-term plan just to win a couple of meaningless games in year one. Obviously, we'd love to make a bowl game. That would make a huge difference as far as practice reps for the young guys, but you still have to stick to your structure and show your team that you don't lose your cool when things get tough, unlike the last guy that was here who did that quite a bit, and you saw where that took us. All right, guys. Impact Player of the Week. Wes, who you got?
Go on, my guy. 7. I'm gonna pull a Skip Bayless, y'all.
Say his
7
name.
from heaven.
Say his
7
name.
from heaven. Chris McCullum. 7 from heaven. Mike says we have to stop the run. It starts with number 7. 7 from heaven. I'm gonna steal Skip Bayless's Michael Parsons 11 from heaven, and I'm gonna go with 7 from heaven. We need that guy in the game. He needs to play more, and we need to stop the running back and make that freshman look like a freshman. End of story.
Mike.
Just forgive me for what I'm about to say.
No, you're not. You're not about to say what I think you're about to say.
I can't believe it. Amari Burney.
Oh, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Never mind. I thought you were going to throw up the donut for a second there. But anyway.
Let's simmer down, bro. Let's simmer down.
Oh, boy.
I'm not that tired, bro. I wouldn't have, hey, with COVID, I wouldn't have done that.
All right. I'm going with Trevor Etienne. I think we saw it this week. Trevor, man, that kid, we didn't really hit on it a whole lot, but it's quite clear. I know we've said it for weeks, but even against elite talent on the other side of the ball, the kid continues to shine when he gets the ball in his hands. I watched the game with a couple of big-time UGA boosters that are family. Shout out to them. They know who they are. They'll get a kick out of me saying that. And even they were both like, man, that kid. Yes.
No, go ahead. I might.
I'm sorry. They just couldn't get over how electric that kid when the ball hit his hands and his ability just to create something out of nothing. So I'd like to see Trevor get some more touches one way or another in this game and just start to really put some more impressive plays on the highlight reel. Go ahead, Wes.
Yeah, this is a yes or no question. You guys think Bernie might have a chance to make one of the SEC All-American teams?
Yes.
You mean the all SEC teams?
Yeah, first, second, or third team.
Yes.
I doubt it.
He's put up some numbers, Hurst. Like, that's why I was asked. That's why I said this was yes or no.
You know what? He may sneak on that third team. He may.
Mm-hmm. I think absolutely.
I'd have to look at linebacker is one of those positions, especially like where he plays, that you just, is he ahead of Ventrell?
I think they both might make it. He has the sacks and the interceptions now. I think he has 2 interceptions on the year.
He has a lot of wow stats, like Wes was saying.
He's really progressed this year.
He may have snuck himself in there with these last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That he's definitely done enough to warrant much more eyeball than I would have thought earlier.
And these next games, a lot of turnover prone quarterbacks. Like one.
And if you look at the games that he made the plays, Utah, people watched that game. Georgia, people watched that game. He had back-to-back turnovers, the interception and the fumble.
He also had the
fourth fumble,
the freaky Bowers play, but that wasn't that was absolutely out of his hands, literally and figuratively. Props to that kid, though, man. We've said this before. Props to Amari Burney, man. He has really allowed himself to be coached and adjusted himself to the system and has really improved himself, even since week 1 when he had the game-saving interception, but was a victim most of the that game.
He's how I hope Anthony Richardson turns out.
He's how many people on this defense. We would have hoped both our safeties would have done that as well, but they're the flip side of that coin.
Tune out, be headstrong, tune out the outside noise and just get better.
Because if you're not, never mind. Anyway, guys, let's get a score prediction, guys. Let's see where we think we are this week. I think we're all going to come back to positivity this week. Mike?
Here 32-20 Gators.
Wes?
It's a lot of points, Mike. Texas A&M has a pretty good defense. I'm going to say 24-20.
Yeah, I'm going 27-23. It's going to be a tight one. It's going to be one of those. That might be one of those games. It's like some crazy score like 15-10 going into the fourth quarter, and then both teams are kind of worn down and some points get put on the board. That tends to go how it goes with us. Hey, big shout out, guys. We didn't even notice it, but thanks to Wes for only picking one player of the week this week. That's real growth. He's shown Amari Burning like growth this week on the podcast.
I'm trying.
You thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
I'm blocking out the outside noise.
Yeah, block it out. Just getting better or something. Stealing a man's code. All right, guys. That'll do it all for the breakdown of the game this week. Mike will be in the trenches, like we said, guys. Make sure you're following along on our YouTube page and on our Twitter page and our Facebook. We run threads there to kind of keep things updated as Mike sends us material from hostile territory. All right, guys. With that being said, it's time for the weekly pick'ems. And boy, we hit a rut last week, man. Everybody hit a little bit of a rut. Things were looking good on the first 4 games we picked. We were all hitting pretty strong, except Mike picking Michigan State to win. I think he meant in the after the game They were going to win. He was.
I didn't say we won the game.
Mike was picking them to actually win in the trenches.
We won, baby. We won.
Mel Tucker slapping fans and helmets getting swung. Ah. All right. So that being said, Hirsch was 6-4 last week, and these two guys both went 5-5 because, of course, they did. That gets me 61-29 on the year, and both of these guys at 56-30. They keep trying, but they can't make it up. Mike's looking square-eyed at me. Mike's got
math doesn't add up, but we'll talk about this.
Math
later.
doesn't add up. Y'all were tied last week.
Talk about it later. Math doesn't add up. We're good though. So what do you got on the pick'ems?
Oh, the math doesn't add up. I screwed up somewhere, guys, but I'm still leading by 5 games. We'll figure it out. I see where Mike's talking about.
Yeah, me too.
My eyes ran together, but it don't matter. They're still losing. All right, guys. Game 1, biggest game of the weekend. I don't know who I want to cheer for, but it's probably Asteroid. Tennessee at UGA. Yeah. Mike.
Tennessee by double digits.
That's a strong pull.
Have you seen Stetson Bennett play football?
Mike is finally on the Josh Heupel train with me. You know
I'm not on it. I'm just saying. When you got an 85-year-old at quarterback and you can actually athletic.
You already know who I'm going with, Hirsch.
I'm not going with UT
not going with that sucker.
UGA.
Oh, wow.
Kirby's going to summon a ghost of Nick Saban and get his team hyped up on being disrespected in the meaningless college football playoff week 1 rankings of Tennessee being number 1 in the country. And Samford and the spiked pad wearing guys are going to come out of nowhere. It's going to be a bloodbath. No, I'm just kidding. It'll probably be a really close game, but I got to go with UGA, man. I'm picking them. All right. Alabama at LSU. Speaking of the ghost of Nick Saban.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, Wes says. He doesn't even need to talk about it.
Nah.
Mike. How has Bama historically played against scrambling quarterbacks?
Not well.
And last thing, their receivers are a lot better than their LSU's receivers are a lot better than Bama's DBs. I got LSU. LSU's about to come out the West.
That's the game I got on both of y'all.
This is the time of year where Bama just starts to make that run.
Okay.
Jamar Gibbs continues to booster his candidacy for the Heisman Trophy in this game, even though it's Hendon Hooker's to lose right now. I got a feeling, but I think Mr. Gibbs is a dark horse. Give me Bama. All right. Now we get into a just disgusting slate of games because this weekend sucks. Texas at Kansas State. Boy, we picked against Kansas State last week to lose to Oklahoma State, and they took an absolute woodshed beating out on Oklahoma State, 48-0. Mike.
K-State.
Yeah, I thought so.
I don't trust you. You don't trust Texas later in the season.
Wes.
Same thing, going with the Wildcats, right?
Yep.
Fighting Bill Snyder Wildcats, baby. Yeah, God ain't blessing Texas this week, baby. K-State. Boy. All right. This is a historically interesting game. Clemson at Notre Dame. That's a long road trip for Clemson.
Notre Dame is feeling kind of good about themselves over there. But I hate everything about Notre Dame. I have no reason why I do. I just hate them like I hate Georgia. So I'm going with the Tigers.
Mike?
Going with the team with the best player in the field, Will Shipley. Clemson.
What?
Boy, I'm struggling with it. Notre
He
Dame,
is.
after looking like trash earlier, has really picked it up. But yeah, Clemson just outmatches them talent-wise. I got a feeling, especially with that defensive line Clemson has. I think they're going to eat.
Yeah.
We probably see. I wouldn't be surprised if DJ Onomatopoeia gets benched again and they bring in the young guy, but it don't matter. Clemson. All right. We don't like them, but we're going to talk about them. FSU at Miami. Miami squeaked out an absolute overtime thriller in 4 overtimes, 14-12. Yes, I said that correctly. Because we said we weren't picking them anymore, and there they are. Mike, where do you think this is going?
I don't care who the quarterback is at Miami. FSU is going to run for over 200 yards, and they're going to win this ball game.
Wes?
Going with Mike's namesake. I refuse to say the name of the school.
Mike's named after Norvell. I think that's pretty much like the same age.
But I can bench 225.
He can braid his hair. Or he could. Oh, man. And you can't wear no hoodies around him. Yeah, man. I think Travis is going to have a huge game. And that daggum receiver for FSU, I wouldn't be surprised if that kid put up 200 yards receiving against these damn DBs from Miami.
Pittman? Yeah, Pittman.
No, the one that wants to go routes.
Wilson.
Oh, gotcha.
ASU transfer.
The
Pittman's
6
pretty
foot
good, too.
7 he just
monster.
Goes, yeah.
No, I was talking about Pittman's pretty good. I like Pittman.
Micah Pittman, he's a good compliment to that kid, but that daggum Wilson kid, man, 6'7",
I think.
Yeah, he's a matchup nightmare. I don't know. I'm worried right now how we're gonna cover that kid.
Bernie.
All right. This probably wouldn't even been we wouldn't have considered this much of a pick a few weeks ago, but Kentucky at Missouri. Boy, that's fun. Go ahead, Mike.
Missouri.
Oh,
you wanna know why?
I mean,
Will Levis is bad at football. I'm just glad the nation saw it last week.
Wes.
Missouri's cooking up something. Because I thought USC had a chance to finish the season strong until they go to their Orange Crush, which is Florida, Tennessee, Clemson. They usually crumble when they do that. I call it the Orange Crush down here to mess with USC fans. But I'm gonna go with Missouri. Yeah, the Orange Crush. USC always loses to Tennessee, Florida, Clemson.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kentucky. And I'm not going with Kentucky because Will Levis, who is bad at football. But Rodriguez is looking like a beast right now. I think if this is a battle of running backs, I will give them that on his legs. That kid's special. I think he'll be playing for somebody on Sundays next year.
I'm just taking Mizzou because they're home.
Give me them in a matchup that probably looks like just an ugly, just nasty, ugly football game. It could be 6-3 for all I know. Baylor Bears at Oklahoma. Wes.
Baylor.
Oh, wow. Mike.
In my
Mike,
I seriously can't pick Oklahoma right now.
Okay.
Go Bears.
I've mentioned before I'm contractually obligated to pick Baylor in all matchups because my sister went to school there. But I'm hedging on my contract, and I'm going with Oklahoma this week.
I remember that.
She could suck it. I need this lead. I got to keep the lead.
That's 2 games, Mike. I think we can come back 2 games, man.
All right.
Jordan, too.
Let's head out west to the Pac-12 where they play horrible football and check in on the Oregon State Beavers at the Washington Huskies. Wes.
You had to pick this game, huh? No other game you could have picked.
They're both 6-2. Pick it.
I'm going with the Huskies, man. They're home. I'm going to go with the home team.
Mike.
Michael Penix and the Huskies.
Yes. I'm going with the Huskies too at home. If this was in Oregon, at Oregon State,
I would have picked them.
But man, we picked against Washington.
I got burned once.
Yeah, when Michigan State went up there, we picked them to win, and then Washington woodshed them boys. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Huskies. I like Washington, man. All right, South Carolina at Vandy. This is how bad the games are this week.
Upset, Mike. This is upset pick.
Will Mike pick a quarterback out of Arizona? Yes,
up.
Your turn. Will Mike pick an Arizona quarterback against?
I'm not gonna pick a quarterback from Arizona. I'm gonna pick a coach from a coaching tree. Beamer.
I love the new and unique ways Mike finds to pick USC weekly. Go ahead, Wes. I know you're a big-time Carolina fan.
I'm going to pick Clemson's little brother.
God almighty, damn.
If they lose this week, then we should even be a podcast next week. Go ahead.
Going with the Cock Commanders. Boy, they missed a real opportunity to pick that for their damn mascot's nickname. All right, one more. We hit up Tobacco Road for a ACC football matchup. Wake Forest at NC State.
Give me Wake. I love the quarterback from Wake. The quarterback from Wake is really, really good. I think he probably might get drafted maybe in the late rounds next year.
They got smoked last weekend too.
Yeah. I like him.
NC State doesn't have a quarterback. I mean, maybe West can dress, but I think they may seriously lose out. I got Wake.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Wake as well, just because of the quarterback factor. And Wake lost last week, so they'll probably play a little more inspired this week than last. I would certainly hope so. All right, guys, that will about wrap it up. Like we said, we had a jam-packed episode, man, but we tried to keep it condensed and hit all the points for you guys. Anything y'all want to add before we jump? Mike?
I'm just going to go to bed dreaming about a nose tackle because I know I'm not going to get one.
That's not healthy.
And Bateman's got us.
Mike's going to bed dreaming about 300-pound men. I'm a little concerned.
That's undersized.
Oh, my goodness. Guys, before I throw it to Wes, I just want to remind y'all once again, go ahead out and download us. We're available wherever you get your podcasts from and all major providers. And make sure you, once again, check out our YouTube page at Respect Our Decision. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and like every video. It helps us a tremendous amount. And it doesn't cost or, take anything to do so. Just hit subscribe. If you don't even have a YouTube channel, sign up for one and give us a subscribe just to help us out. We'd appreciate it because we begging like that. Anyway, always, guys, make sure if you want to support us as creators, you visit our Patreon at Respect Our Decision. Each and every dollar, as I mentioned, goes back into the show. We don't keep anything for ourselves. We do this for the love of the Florida Gators and just our love to sit down and talk about it and, get y'all's feedback. We thrive on the growth that we've shown and all your support, and it's been tremendous, and it's keeping us going even when, we've gone through some tough weeks here. Just to be able to know that we could bring y'all some content that maybe people will listen to and get your hopes and dreams back up. With that being said, guys, as always, I'm going to kick it to my man, Wes. Wes?
Yeah, appreciate it, Hurst. Thank you, guys. Again, reiterate everything Hurst said, and we apologize. We didn't do the podcast on Sunday yet. Reiterating what we said at the beginning of the show, but we will take a couple questions on our Twitter and our Facebook page. We ask, and we, if you guys have anything you want to talk about, we'll try to pick a few that we may answer on the podcast. So again, thank you guys for all the interaction on our Facebook and our Twitter, and we'll continue to provide you with the best content that we can, and we'll take all the suggestions and things that you guys do. As we end, same as always, salute to our veterans. We thank you guys. We support our veterans here. And if you know anybody that is a veteran, you're a veteran yourself, and you have questions about trying to get your disability or anything like that, please hit us up. comment, inbox us, and we'll get back to you as fast as we can. We thank you, and go Gators.
Go
Go Gators.